Hello everyone, it's Cybersonic from Riders Underground, and as you may know, the Sonic Riders community has been ridden with conflict, particularly as instigated by server owners or leaders through a lack of honesty and transparent communication / decision making, effective moderation in response to conflict or instances of negative behavior. Why are we making this video? This video is for the people that don't want to read the document and just want to have a too long didn't read version of it. And also, since we're also a small server, or Twitter is small as well, it's better to use YouTube as a platform because it's in order to get more reach. Because if you look at the numbers, you can easily see why. So with nothing further to do, let's get into the video. The Sonic Riders community has been ridden with conflict, particularly as instigated by server owners or leaders through a lack of honesty and transparent communication / decision making. Effective moderation in response to conflict or instances of negative behavior. Riders Underground is making an effort to eliminate this type of behavior by creating a place where everyone can grow and be a part of the community, as many community members are tired of having to move servers due to these issues. From what we can see, the plan is working, and we have been revising this plan to improve its efficiency. We have even managed to resolve some conflict with another Sonic Riders community, Sonic Riders Competitive, which was ongoing during the time Riders Underground and Extreme Gear Labs were one entity. By this time, you might be wondering why this video and announcement was created. As of the past few weeks, Extreme Gear Labs, who go by the channel EX Gear Labs, has put out a slanderous 6-page document on Riders Underground in an attempt at shutting Riders Underground down. Riders Underground has compiled a 30+ document, which you can read in the description below, going through every point they make in their own document and ensuring that it's understood why Riders Underground left Extreme Gear Labs. Inside Extreme Gear Labs document, we find the aspects at which they present their evidence as problematic and improper. Much of their evidence has been taken out of context or has had context artificially superimposed. Much of their document has been changed after its original publishing to change up parts of their story, whether to add new information or redact other bits of information. Standing members of Extreme Gear Labs have engaged in much the same behavior they have elected to call out Riders Underground for, but have done little to own up to their own compliance and even their own participation in it. It calls into question whether their belief or interest in addressing community challenges or exclusionary behavior is legitimate, or if it's just tokenism being leveraged against people they want to impede. A few big examples concern their lead developer Eric Neo, a Caucasian male who has on multiple occasions said the N-word and has tried policing its use to people of other ethnicities, alongside the leading examples of his behavior so that he cannot be held accountable for it. He's done this multiple times for various reasons and still continues to do so now. Not only the N-word, but also the R-slur as well, as you can see here.
Global homo.
Yeah, bro, it's Pride Month. I'm a faggot now. Thoughts?
Finally, I have a chance.
Sounds unfortunate.
Sounds unoptimal.
I agree. Fuck.
You're allowed to be as retarded as you want, and I'm sure I can invite a... Hang on, how old is this person? It's probably in their own server's Introduce Myself channel. So I just have to scroll to like the bottom. I can introduce you to somebody who is 15. Their interests are, it seems, current children's cartoons, and
So the Loud House.
No, not the Loud House. I haven't listed that.
I did
They live in the UK, they're 15, and their nickname in their own server is Indigo the Colossal Racist.
That's so amazing.
Basically, Extreme Gear Labs document is written in a way that implies that saying slurs even in a funny context is bad no matter what. And Eric even admits it in this screenshot. But like shown earlier, stuff like that was done constantly in Extreme Gear Labs in the past. So basically, now what? There are more examples of this in the document itself. But this alone already destroys the first part of the document about all the bigoted behavior. And in the end, doesn't really accomplish anything now. Like, we can all admit this is bad, but trying to hide their own engagement in it, being hypocritical and lying, already destroys the document within the first page without getting into even the later pages. This pretty much undermines the whole document and ruins its credibility. I mean, go look in their server and just type in the search bar. And this is basically on anyone who had mod powers at the time. And many weren't removed, by the way. It went from 2021, even earlier than that, up until 2022 when people left. We even had a 6-hour VC trying to reconcile, as well with Extreme Gear Labs like a year ago. If that had gone through, all of these allegations you've seen here would have been literally swept under the rug. The whole VC is in the document. You can watch it from start to finish. Them changing over time is fine, by the way. But in the document themselves, they say their, not our. Even though, yeah, I clearly showed you screenshots earlier. Even in our old video with Crimson Gaia about Extreme Gear Labs, we only kept it to the leadership. So this thing was kind of a stupid thing to talk about. Because even Crimson stated that he didn't want to be this vindictive about it. Unfortunately, the examples do not end there. There was also a lack of productive and collaborative engagement due to poor leadership skills. Failure to constructively receive and engage with other ideas and intentionally withholding information required to complete work. Along with the threat for self-harm, members of Riders Underground before the split with Extreme Gear Labs had constantly attempted to request Air King Neo to leave for the betterment of his health. However, Air King Neo refused this. Once the self-harm threat came up in November, Riders Underground members in a private server owned by Frenchie Pierre, a member no longer with the community, requested Frenchie, who had Air King's sister's Discord, to reach out to her and make sure that Air King Neo did not follow through with his threat. All of these events can be read about inside our document in the description, by the way. Extreme Gear Labs also accuses Riders Underground of hijacking the Extreme Gear Labs YouTube channel, alongside gameplay development. This is not true. The channel was given to us after the deletion of the Extreme Gear Labs Revival server that was deleted last year by the server and channel owner Crimson Gaia. After a long talk, much after the video explaining about why the server was deleted came out. Extreme Gear Labs states that Riders Underground impersonated their own organization with Crimson Gaia, when in fact Riders Underground, along with most of the developers, including Crimson Gaia, laid just as much claim to the name as Extreme Gear Labs does now, considering that most everyone in development was there due to constant issues with leadership. It was easier to start a new server to get away from bad leadership under the same name at the time, than to continue working under this leadership. Riders Underground also has been accused of stealing Air King Neo's codes. This screenshot provided by Extreme Gear Labs in their own document shows that we did not have the code sheet that would hold all of the codes, which would be found inside Extreme Gear Labs archives. So we had to create many codes from scratch. Any code that is present in the mod's beta build, found in our Discord server related to Air King Neo, is being replaced as necessary before we begin sending out an official release of our mod. Further down their document, they have accused Riders Underground members of orchestrating violence, doxxing, and harassment. One part of that is true is in regards to the doxxing, and we have taken appropriate actions to address this with the individual. Had leaked out some of Air King Neo's personal information, which he had received inside of public voice chats, in an extreme poor attempt to make a joke. It was found that this information was not of Air King's own information. However, we will not be specifying what information this was related to. We have taken Ludiolo off of our moderation team at this time. Something to note that other members of the community have confirmed that they also have received the same leaked information from Air King Neo himself, even me included, in my DMs. Extreme Gear Labs tries to frame this as moderation did nothing, when in fact everyone in the private server this leak came from questioned this joke and wanted nothing to do with it, given its poor taste. Extreme Gear Labs tries to also implicate other members such as Forden and me, who were not even there when the issue occurred.
So look, the doxing thing is true. Okay, so the problem is the fact that, okay, Ludi did this,
Why even try to include me into it when I'm not even in the screenshot? I could have, especially since it's been 2 years ago, I could have been doing anything at that time. Because I've only been told about this when I saw the document itself.
So the looty part is true, but why try finding a correlation as to this is why I did these specific things afterwards, like you showed in the document? Why even try to correlate these separate events as the reason why I did what I did?
It doesn't make any sense, and it just comes off as a half-truth.
Just to stick as much on people as possible. And even then, some members in
the private server were condemning Ludi for not doing it. They were saying stuff like, what the hell is this? Or saying, you should probably remove this. But instead, what does Extreme Gear Lab say? Underground are doxers.
So what I'm trying to say is, like, this is bad, but when you already have something like that, why also try to lie with it? I just don't understand it.
Personally, there was literally no gain in doing that. But hey, if you'd like more information about the Extreme Gear Lab's claims, along with our responses to them, please visit our link in the description to our full document, which provides quotes from the entirety of their document along with responses from us, along with a full timeline of contacts from the years 2021 to 2023. We would also like to call out Extreme Gear Labs for a few other issues, namely theft of assets. Sonic Riders DX 2.1 was put out in an attempt at shutting down Riders Underground from continuing work on Sonic Riders as a whole, and in their own admission on Twitter had assets from Sonic Riders Underground's own team, which were posted without permission, as you can see here, and as you can see here. Those were Air King's tweets, and this was an agreement by all the devs as well. Here's Air King saying something about Moser's work, and here's Moser saying something about what needs to be done with his work. Because those two things contradict each other. Because if those two contradict each other, what do? You ask Moser, which Air King did not do. This also included paid commission works made by members who are working with Riders Underground at this time, plus art, Forden's custom made Riders logo, and other assets from Riders Underground leader Forden, as well as other contributors who are no longer in the community. They have since taken down the folder, which was public from Sonic Riders DX 2.1's release in June 2023 through July 2024, to which we didn't even know if Air King was even working on it until he had the VC with us, because we thought now that everyone left, how would he continue, but he still did. It's also one of the reasons why we had the conversation, and also spoiled many surprises for fans of these mods in that time frame. They are continuing to steal assets, even leading into DX's next major update, which you can see an example of here. This is the Sonic Riders DX 2.0 logo designed by Forden as compared to Sonic Riders DX 3.0 logo designed by Yacker. A member of Extreme Gear Labs, they simply swapped 2.0 for 3.0 with a slight color change, without consulting Forden about his use of his work. We do not find this to be acceptable. If Riders Underground is dedicated to improving not only its own team but its community, and continues making efforts to do so, then it is important that everyone who has taken part in the community issues to own up to their own mistakes. And Riders Underground's members have done so. We ask Extreme Gear Labs to do the same. To cap off this video, we would like to say that we will not be responding to Extreme Gear Labs any further to reach a productive and conclusive resolution to this situation. We are calling for Extreme Gear Labs to perform the below actions 7 days from now. We are doing our part to reflect on and address our own behavior, and believe shared efforts are instrumental to move past this conflict. To this end, we ask 1. That Extreme Gear Labs retracts their document and ceases its circulation. 2. That Extreme Gear Labs apologizes for unfairly and improperly portraying Riders Underground and Sonic Riders Competitive, attempting to obscure Extreme Gear Labs' own participation in behaviors they have criticized to avoid community scrutiny and criticism, and weaponizing inclusivity and bullying to inflict disadvantage. And 3rd, the Extreme Gear Labs make a public, genuine, and unambiguous commitment to constructively resolving issues they believe exist in the community. and sees weaponization of inclusivity and neighboring concepts to inflict disadvantage on community members. Failure of Extreme Gear Labs to perform these actions within the time frame will inform our future engagement with Extreme Gear Labs. That was Cybersonic, your local black band. Peace.